Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my new friend Max, and I met Max through a mutual friend of mine, Kevin, and Kevin talked to Max yesterday and said, hey, would you consider being on Mark's show? And he was nice enough to say yes. I ran into him today, so thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with me.
No, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here and finally meet you.
So another Australian. You guys are taking over, man. There are so many men from Australia here that I've met over the last 4 years, and all of them seem to be really happy, you know?
Yeah, well, the word's spreading in Australia, and we're watching all your YouTube videos, and we sit at home, we get all excited, and we decide, look, we tell our wives we want a divorce, and we hop on a plane, and
God, I hope not.
we come over here.
I don't want to be responsible for divorces. Yeah, like we were talking off camera earlier about, you're a retired police officer, right?
That's correct.
And people that have jobs, you know, it doesn't matter if it's police or whatever it is, they have a career, and even if they're not crazy about their job, they look forward to being around their colleagues at work, you know. And when you take that away and they don't have a career anymore, and they're going home to an empty house, especially if they're not married or in a relationship, going home to an empty house, and then as you get older, I found that I had less and less friends, like they died, they moved away, whatever, and your circle of friends got smaller and smaller and smaller the older you got. And same with family, they move away, things happen, they've got their own lives. And it can make you depressed, you know, that when you don't have any friends and you're coming home and just watching TV and, you know, cooking for yourself or whatever. And what I was telling you is that here in the Philippines, especially in Dumaguete, it's so easy to make friends. You were here yesterday, you didn't know anybody when you walked into this restaurant. How many guys did you meet yesterday?
I spent the entire day with about 10 people from
10 people
all over the world.
Yeah.
There was a more specific reason why I jumped on a plane and came here quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you want to discuss that, but
no, that's all right.
Maybe that should be buried, that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, I came here with good intentions to help somebody. It doesn't look like that's going to pan out, but I was returning here anyway, so I was coming back in 2 months. I came early to rescue somebody. I met that person yesterday, and he doesn't need rescuing anymore. So anyway, I'm here and I'm going to enjoy my time. And
so you're going to, this is kind of like a recon here. This month you're going to be here, just looking around, making sure that you know, double checking if this is what you want to do. Yeah. And then you're going to go home and liquidate your life.
Yep.
And come here and live forever.
Yeah, that's the plan. I was here 3 weeks ago for a whole month. Not in Dumaguete. I was at Manila, Cebu, Tagaytay. I went to Bohol and whatnot.
So you knew what you're getting into. You know what the Philippines is like then, yeah.
Oh, look, I guess I'm like everyone else. I spent the last couple of years researching, watching videos, trying to get a really good idea in my head. You know, what's going to happen when I get here. And I've got to say, the videos and what you guys do, you're pretty much spot on the money. As soon as I hopped on off the plane, I already knew where to go to get like a SIM card or get cash out, all from watching videos. I had it all in my head. I knew what to expect with the first taxi driver. He wanted $1,000 to go down the road. The next one was 500. Eventually I negotiated 200 peso. But I knew all that was going to happen through watching these videos. So.
Yeah, because with my channel, it's really not an information channel, it's an interview channel, and so the information comes out, but you hear from a guy who's just like you, who came here, and he relates his story, what happened to him, you can learn from his mistakes or his successes. Yeah,
and that's what I did.
Yeah.
And maybe because of my past career, I guess I'm very good at scanning and looking around and looking for trouble. My gut feeling works very well. I can sense things that are going to happen and I can avoid it pretty quickly. I think that's from my former training, but I think that's helped me a lot.
I imagine you're also really good at telling if somebody's lying to you.
Yeah,
Are there certain things, I guess as an officer, you pick up certain things, like you can tell the way they move their eyes or different things that they're lying to you?
Yeah, I can talk to them for a while and watch them change their story. I know what questions to ask, direct, indirect, all sorts of things, and yeah, I
Ask
can
the
work
same
out.
question. Ask the same question 20 minutes later, a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I tend not to do that. I don't really need to, but again, if my gut feeling kicks in, and I think, I don't know, this bloke's trying to con me. It happened yesterday with a German bloke. I worked out pretty quick he was actually trying to get me to be part of some scheme that he's in, making money.
Oh,
And I could see where it was going, and you know, he wanted me to invest thousands of dollars, and he turned it into that. And this is a German. It wasn't actually here; it was somewhere else. But after an hour of talking to him, I worked out he was a full con man, and was able to just walk away. And
yeah, I found here like it hasn't been. I've never had a Filipino try and scam me. You know, maybe overcharge me for a taxi ride or something like that, but never try and scam me or rip me off. But I have had several foreigners try and con me. I had a guy just recently. We did a meet and greet here, and had a whole bunch of subscribers and vloggers here. And this guy, he was a Filipino. He came up to me and said he'd heard about my cruise ship thing. He said, "Oh, I got financing for you. I can funding." And I said, "Really? How do you do that?" I said, "Oh, it's millions of dollars. You know, $100 million I can get." I said, $100 million? And I said, "What's the interest rate?" He said, "No interest rate." I said, "What do you mean no interest rate?" And he said, "They just want you to have jobs, provide jobs." Okay, so they want me to do this so that I can provide jobs for Filipinos. I said, "Okay." And he said, "Is it a Philippine company?" "No, they're Americans." I go, "Okay." And then he said, "All they want is that you have some skin in the game." Meaning like, okay, we're going to give you, you know, $30 million in 3 chunks, but you just give us 200,000, you know, to show that you're part of the deal or whatever. Of course, you'd lose your money. I said,
Yeah.
because then he told me that he was trying to sell me a vitamin that he said was stem cells, and he said this is new thing, stem cells from deer, and that he said that he had a friend of his who had an autistic child who took these pills that were $300 a month, right? And all of a sudden started talking, and that just really pissed me off because my oldest daughter's autistic.
Yeah.
I know I've talked to like the leading authority on autism from Harvard University, who I interviewed, and I know there's no such thing. So I knew the guy was total shit, so I just walked away from him. But yeah, it's the foreigners you got to watch out for.
It's amazing what people will do for money, and some of these blokes are really good at it, and they fool a lot of people. So, and I used to deal with them all the time. I used to have to arrest them, charge them with fraud, all sorts of stuff. I've interviewed them. They're very clever.
They are.
If they could use how smart they are for good,
Yeah.
like this world would be a better place. So.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. One thing I tell everybody here, like, you know, when you get here, is don't let anybody know how much money you've got, because some guys come here with nothing. Some guys come here very well, you know, off financially. They start talking about they've got this and got that, and then word gets out. Next thing you know, somebody tries to find a way to get a chunk of that.
Yeah. Well, I won't tell you what my monthly income will be here.
Yeah. Don't even talk about that. So, I know you said you didn't want to talk much about being a police officer, but how long were you an officer?
Oh, look, due to what I was doing, I can't really disclose much to you, but
I understand.
say I went in around 2000 and I retired a few years ago, but
Okay.
my job title was, I know it was a simple way to put it, was to go in and take out the bad people.
What drew you to that profession? Like, did you have a military background or something? Or
No, I'm actually a pastry cook by trade. My
what?
father, a pastry cook.
Oh, pastry cook.
Baker. Yeah.
There's a friend of mine I got to introduce you to. I forget where he's from, but he was a master pastry chef too.
Okay.
Yeah, he worked for like the big hotel chains around the world.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you'll like him. Nice guy.
Yeah. Well, my father was a pastry cook, and he owned many businesses in Sydney.
Yeah.
And a big factory. And I was, due to my circumstances, my mum passed away shortly after I was born, so I had no one to look after me, so I used to have to go to work with my father from about the age of 8. So I just started becoming a pastry cook by about the age of 8.
Wow.
And did it for years, and by the time I think I was 20 years of age, and then I eventually bought my own cake shop and did that for years. But I'd done it for so long I got sick of it. And during this time, all my friends and mates had joined the police, and they used to come into the bakery at 3 in the morning and hang out with me, and I'd hear the stories, and Next minute they'd be running off down the road, jumping in the police car and lights
It
and
sounded
sirens.
exciting, yeah.
And I wanted part of it. So I actually sold my cake shop, worked 10 dead-end jobs, you know, vacuuming floors, whatever I had to do, and while I was applying to get into the police force. And yeah, eventually I got in. And I actually got in because I have a trade and life experience. And to be honest, it's the best thing I ever did, up until I left in a really bad way. So it was good, and after a while, with what I was dealing with, what I was involved with, what I had to do, the memories and nightmares I have, and I can't discuss
That's fine.
what I did.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was taking out the bad guys.
And so, you don't think it was a mistake doing that? Because you had this nice, safe job, but all of a sudden you have this job with excitement and danger, obvious danger.
It was very dangerous.
Yeah. Did you get injured? Ever get injured while you were?
I got, badly injured. I was dragged out of a police car while we were trying to take off from a job, and the police car ran over my legs. I've had my wrist broken, my whole face was smashed in, all my ribs broken.
God.
Oh, there's a really long list. Actually, I worked in a very dangerous area in Sydney.
But did you have a choice when you went in? Like what department? Like, you know, work
look,
narcotics or what? Do you pick the most dangerous thing, or how did you end up in that division?
You start off down the bottom, and then you apply for detectives and whatnot, and you go into different areas. So I did a bit of everything, but the area I worked in had a particular race of people and religion. They're really bad people, very dangerous. No respect for authority.
It's funny.
They'd just look at you and they'd kill you. They'd kill you without a care in the world.
Wow.
And they do that in their own country too. So.
So they weren't Australians; they were foreigners.
They were. Yeah. I'd rather not say that.
That's okay.
I don't want to sound racist, but.
Yeah. Well.
So if you kick in a door and you didn't know what was behind the other end of that door, but you can pretty much be guaranteed they were going to kill you if they could. So it was. Most shifts were very scary. I won't lie. Many times I was frightened. You didn't know whether you were going home. So.
Well, what's it like after you had a day where, say, you didn't get beat up, or you almost got killed, or somebody shot at you or whatever, and you go home? And how do you sleep at night? I mean, that's got to be hard. Like I know when even I have like a minor upset that happens in my life, like I'm going over it in my brain at night. I can't sleep. Oh, I should have done this. I should have said that. Is it hard to like shut that off and go to sleep?
Yeah. The entire time I was in the job, it was hard. And especially like you've just locked up a pedophile and you go to court, and next minute the judge lets him off.
Oh, God.
You go home and you want to cry, you want to bang your head against the wall, you're frustrated, you've done hours and hours of paperwork to lock this person up, and the court just lets him go.
Wow.
It's something I can't describe to you. And I guess that's why since I left the police, I don't have a lot of friends in society, because there's no one I can explain this to. It's like you don't fit in once you leave the military or the police. You don't fit in back in society. People don't understand what you're telling them. The worst thing is the nightmares. You finally fall asleep and you start dreaming about a murder you went to the day before or that morning, and all you can see is like the dead body and the blood, and you can't get out of your head.
I bet.
And for me, it got to the point, the nightmares became so severe and the lack of sleep got to me so bad that I ended up in hospital for a long time.
Wow.
Getting treatment.
Because I know for me, it's like I look forward to going to bed and hoping I have a dream and maybe it'll be a good dream, but I can't imagine if you say, I'm exhausted, I want to go to sleep, but I'm terrified of having this nightmare that's, as scary almost as the real thing. Yeah.
And it's very hard to explain this to people.
Now, do you still have nightmares today?
No, look, I was in a real bad way a few years back, and I don't mind sharing this with you. I used to be embarrassed about it and didn't want to talk about it, but now
be
I actually
embarrassed
feel
about,
it's
geez.
important to get
Yeah.
the message out.
Yeah.
Because
Because other guys will watch it and they'll say, they can relate to you.
I'm guessing that's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. But look, I was suicidal and I ended up in hospital, and eventually I got help. I got counselling and a psychiatrist, and that went for an entire year. And these people were fantastic. They saved my life.
Wow.
They got me back on track, on some medication, and
I do meditation.
yeah. So I don't need it anymore, but they taught me how to deal with everything. So these days, I get up in the morning and I'm happy.
And me too,
And
yeah.
the key is to remain positive all day. No
Be a
matter
stoic,
what
yeah,
happens,
yeah.
you've got to turn any little negative or any bad thought into a positive, like straight away.
That's so true.
It's
That's
hard
exactly
to do,
what I do. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
but it took me an entire year to train my brain to do it. And nowadays, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Things have happened in town here just the last few days that have upset me a little bit.
Yeah.
A foreigner upset me a little bit. And I was able to just quickly take a deep breath, take 5 minutes for myself and clear my head of it, and then just straight back in being happy, laughing, talking to the Filipino women. And
There's a guy I saw recently who was talking about the 5-minute rule. And so any emotion it is, whether it's anger, not good emotions, any negative emotion, you're allowed to feel that emotion for 5 minutes.
yeah.
So let's say somebody says something that pisses you off. Okay, you can be angry for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, it's gone. It's over with. I'm not going to choose to feel that way anymore.
Okay, yeah, my 5 minutes doesn't work for me. My rule is about 30 seconds.
Good.
Because 5 minutes is too long and it's downhill from there.
Right.
So I've got 30 seconds to snap out of it and be happy again.
That's good.
That's for me.
That's good. That's great.
Otherwise, you go back into fight and flight mode and back into depression, and you become angry. And
Now, how do you feel overall? I know you've only been there a couple of days, but how do you feel in the Philippines right now? Like, are you sleeping okay?
Yeah.
You
never slept better.
really?
Yeah. And because I just spent a whole month in the Philippines just recently.
Yeah.
I reckon from day one, getting off the plane, leaving Australia, and looking at this whole new world, it was so exciting and adventurous. I went to the motel that night and I just slept like a baby, like I haven't slept for years.
Wow.
And every day since, I'm running around all day, I'm busy, I'm excited, I'm meeting people, I'm talking to people again, which I haven't done for years. And I'm going to bed at night and I'm tired and I'm falling asleep. I'm sleeping 8 hours straight. I haven't done that for years.
That's great. And that's good for your health too. Sleep is very important.
I feel good. I feel good.
You look good.
Yeah, I feel really.
How old
really
are you,
good.
if you don't mind me asking?
54.
Oh, you're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, for here, you're young. It'd be nice to be the young guy, huh? You hang out with the other guys down here and they're all in their 60s or 70s, and you can be, there's the young boy over there.
So far, I think I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of everybody, but.
Well, Steve, I just introduced you to the police officer. I believe he's 55. He's a retired police
okay.
officer too, so
Yeah.
you two can be friends.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
But
exciting.
I've got to say, I'm enjoying Dumaguete. I've only been here a couple of days, but it is so much different than Cebu, and
yeah.
I'm really loving it here so far.
It's not too big, not too small. Is it perfect? No, it's not.
The traffic's not so
Yeah,
bad. I can
yeah.
actually cross the road here
Yeah.
without being in fear of my wife of being killed.
And you can go
Cebu
up
was.
to, go up to Valencia. It's even nicer up there and quiet and stuff. But
Yeah, I'm hiring a bike on Monday, and
good.
I'm going to go venturing. And
so, do you think when you settle here, you'll buy a motorcycle or a scooter or a car, or what's your plan?
probably a scooter and a car.
Yeah.
I'll come back. The plan is to stay, for the rest of the month, return to Australia, sell my cars, motorbikes, everything, then rent my house out. I just sold my other house recently, and I was going to sell the house I'm living in, and I decided I won't sell it just yet. I'll rent it.
Probably a good plan.
Well, that gives me an extra $2,000 a month
Yeah.
on top of my already good budget.
Yeah.
So I'm coming here with a
Yeah.
good
It'll be fun.
budget.
Yeah.
I've also put a lot of money aside for emergencies and an emergency exit plan.
Have you ever had any health issues, like not being injured in the police force, but like heart or anything like that?
Yeah, this year I had cancer removed.
Really?
Yeah, my eye.
Oh, wow.
And that's actually another reason why I'm in the Philippines, because it started off as a little pimple and I didn't worry about it. It got bigger and bigger. I eventually went to the doctor. He looked at it and went, "This doesn't look real good." They sent me somewhere else for a specialist. Came back, bad news, melanoma and all that sort of stuff. And the doctor told me, he said, "Look, I think it's gone up into your eye, so there's a good chance you're going to lose your eye. And if it's gone up any further," he said, "it might not be looking real good for you."
Wow.
And then he started asking me, "Did I have a will I might want to consider?"
Wow.
I sunk that day. I didn't know what to feel. I felt like collapsing.
Yeah.
The doctor was basically indicating, "Look, it's a good chance you're going to die in 6 months." It didn't turn out that way. I went in, they got it all, with not much room to spare, but they managed to get it all. They pulled out a bit of melanoma, probably the size of a blueberry.
Really?
Yeah, it was all up in my eye and down.
Wow.
And they said, "You're a very lucky man." And I knew then, I'm changing my life. Life's short.
Yeah, that's a real wake-up call. You say, because you're a young man, you're healthy, and you think, well, I've got 30 years ahead of me, and all of a sudden you find out, well, I could die in 6 months.
Yeah.
It really changes like how you're going to spend that time. Like, you have to make the most of every day.
Yes.
Every day. I always say to myself, like, today's a much better day than yesterday, and yesterday was a great day.
Yeah, and that made me realise that I don't need 2 brand new cars. I don't even know why I've got them. I've got a brand new BMW I just bought a few months ago, motorcycle,
Yeah.
worth $25,000.
Yeah.
I've got $100,000 worth of cars and motorbikes
Yeah.
that I never use. I really don't even know why I buy them. I think it's boredom or...
Yeah.
And I was just
Sometimes
sitting there
buying
going,
something
I
nice,
don't
it
need
makes you
this.
feel good for like a few minutes or for a day or two, or
I'll be happy with a 200 peso scooter parked out the front of the coffee shop here,
Yeah.
and just walk around and talk to the locals and be happy.
Yeah.
That would make me more happy than a $25,000 BMW motorbike.
My recommendation is rent a bike, get used to driving around here and everything.
Yeah.
I've got a video on a guy you probably want to meet named Mark Harrow, who has 7 new motorcycles.
I've seen them.
He knows everything about them.
Yeah.
He can guide you on what to buy. I think a scooter is better than a motorcycle because you're not using the clutch all the time. Because my whole arm goes to sleep using the clutch when I'm driving long trips.
Yeah.
And they've got some really good ones here, the Hondas, anything Japanese.
Yeah. And I will hire one on Monday,
Yeah.
and I've got a lady that lives here. She's going to help me.
Yeah. And
Through
get
the
yourself,
process.
get the bike that you really like and you're comfortable with, and then find a really nice place to live. That's where I spend my money, and I recommend, like, don't skimp on place to live.
Yeah.
Look around, find something you really like. I just love this apartment, this house, this condo, whatever it is, and it just makes you feel at home and settle in. But that's where you want to spend your money.
Well, I definitely want air conditioning, because so far last month, and I stayed in some pretty bad places.
Yeah.
And at one stage, I actually tried to put this living on $1,000 thing to the test that you hear about.
Yeah.
I tried it when I was here previously. I lasted 3 days, and I went, there is no way I'm going to live like this.
Well,
And I also worked out there was no way I was going to survive on $1,000 a week.
Well, the thing, you don't have to. I mean, you work.
I don't have to, but I wanted to put it to the test.
I get it.
And I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
And God help you if something went wrong.
Yeah.
You'd be
some
buggered.
guys, they have no choice, if that's why they're doing it. But, for someone like you had a dangerous, stressful job for all these years, and you put together some money in savings and investments, and you owe it to yourself to spend that money on yourself and have yourself a nice place to live in, a nice bike, a nice car if you want that too, and have a wonderful life. And when you're here, you can also travel around other Asia, go to Thailand, go to Malaysia, go to Japan, wherever you want to go.
I'd like to do that too.
Yeah, and just enjoy, the years you got left, Make the most of it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to skimp on things,
Yeah. Unless I get married, that might cut my budget in half, but...
It really doesn't. Didn't really cut mine in half. I got married, and actually my income started going up when I was married, because I was able to focus more on my YouTube channel and other things I was doing, instead of like hoping to find a girlfriend or something. It's like it, and we cook at home and stuff, so I don't go out as much as I used to. And but it really hasn't cost me much of anything. Plus, I'm way happier, and I was happy already.
Yeah.
I was totally fine being single here.
Well,
But-
I'm not sure what I'm going to do in that department. Yeah, I guess.
In the Philippines,
I've
a
never
guy
been
like
married,
you,
but
yeah, you were married before?
no, I've never been married, but
Well, here you have when it comes to relationships, you almost have no choice here.
I think
I mean,
I'd like to do it.
Yeah,
To
you
be
will.
honest,
Yeah, you will definitely.
I'm at a
meet
point in
someone.
life like I've got the funds. It could get pretty lonely just by yourself, and
Yeah.
okay, again, you got a new motorbike, a new car,
Yeah.
nice house up the road here,
Yeah.
no one to share it with.
I guess my advice is just wait till you could maybe meet some people while you're here, but just take your time.
I'll wait till I come back.
And you go, and these girls here, they want to be courted.
Yeah,
So they want to be taken out for coffee. Like I've mentioned on my channel many times, but on the first day with my wife, she brought her mother
Yeah.
and her 2 friends from school.
yeah,
And then they sat there and they didn't even talk to me.
and I don't blame
So,
them. Yeah,
we just sat there looking at me.
Yeah.
So like, I think, how's this going to work out? And here we are happily married for 3 years. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad I'm hearing all these good stories, and I met a whole heap yesterday. These
Yeah.
blokes are all married and had girlfriends, and I met all their wives and girlfriends.
Yeah.
And I had the best day ever yesterday. I
Yeah.
got to tell you.
All those guys they're all my friends, and they've all got different stories. Everybody's got
Yeah.
a different story, and they're all just really happy, you
Yeah.
know?
That their wives were lovely.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed hanging out with them. And
Yeah, I know guys here that have, they're saying their late 50s, 60s, and they haven't had a relationship, like, a date or a marriage or anything, for some of them 10, 15 years.
yeah,
And they just given up on that part of their life, like, that's never going to happen to me. And when they came here, they still had no intention. They didn't come here to meet a girl. And they come over here and they get settled in and stuff, and then all of a sudden they start meeting young women or beautiful women that are interested in them. And next thing you know, they're dating, they're in a relationship, they're living with somebody, and I've never seen the biggest smile on your face in some of these guys, like, that they've got a relationship. They're so proud of it too, that they've got a relationship.
I've really noticed
Yeah.
that. Yeah. There's no truth in some of these other videos people are putting out. That we come here just to pick up 13-year-old
Yeah.
girls, and
Yeah.
it's not like that at all.
No, and these girls don't throw themselves at you either. You
No,
have
they
to,
don't.
No, you have to go after them. You have to,
Yeah,
ask them out on a date and talk to a conversation. It's like old school, like it was
yeah.
before the internet and stuff, so.
Yeah, and it works both ways
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. Like, okay, they're poor,
Yeah.
and they're relying on you
Yeah.
to, give them a better life. But in return, they're giving you so much more.
Exactly. And the thing is, I saw a study done not long ago. They were interviewing women in other countries. They said, what's the one thing that a man has to have for you to go out with him? And it was a job or be financially stable.
Yeah.
And that's true of women around the world.
Yeah.
They won't go out with some guy that doesn't have a job or doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
They won't do it. So you can't point a finger at these Filipinas and say, wow, they want to go out with a foreigner because he's financially stable.
Yeah.
That's not fair,
Yeah.
And anyway,
And look, I don't blame them.
yeah,
We're all human. We're all out to survive.
yeah.
And
But I mean,
sometimes you'll do whatever you have
Yeah.
to do to survive.
yeah, but it's like they may want to go out with someone because he's financially stable, and also he's more interesting because he's
Yeah.
from another country and they've been on this island their whole life.
Yeah.
So just to meet a guy from Australia, Germany, or America who's got a whole bunch of interesting stories to tell and life wisdom,
Yeah.
they find that interesting. But that doesn't mean they can't be in love with them, because all my friends, I know their wives and girlfriends, and these girls are really, really in love with them.
Yeah.
They really are. And
I
you can
could see
tell
that yesterday.
You can tell the way they treat them.
I could see it yesterday.
And I've seen it when a guy's died and his wife, who was 25, 30 years younger than him, and he left her financially set. I mean,
Yeah.
she got a house, she's got money, she don't worry about nothing. And she's just so distraught that she lost him, that she misses him so much, and she really loved him.
Yeah.
But some people from the outside can't see that.
Yeah.
They think it's impossible.
And you got your bad stories, but
Oh, yeah,
that's all over the world
yeah,
too.
that's all over the
Doesn't
world
matter what
too.
country you go to either.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. It is, yeah. Yeah, there's bad people everywhere.
but I think you got better success here and with these women than anywhere else in the
It's
world.
so true. That's so true.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So I usually ask guys, like, what's the hardest thing that you've ever gone through in your life? You've already kind of told me the hard stuff that you've gone through. Was there ever anything that you went through and like you look back and say, God, I'm so glad I got through that. That was like a real tough part of my life.
Look, joining the police.
Yeah.
That was the best time of my life. I can't explain the excitement and what you
Yeah.
get to do and what you're part of.
Yeah.
The average person has no idea. It was also the worst thing I ever did in my life.
So it's like Dickens. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
And then it almost ruined my life. It's more so mentally, I guess.
Yeah.
I sat there going, I wish I never joined. This job has wrecked me. So it's, but I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah, but you've got over all that. And also you did a lot of good. You took some bad people off the streets, and you think of just pick one of those guys that you took out or you took off, you arrested. And if you hadn't have done that, just think of the damage and the carnage that one guy could have wrecked over the rest of his life if you hadn't taken him out.
There'd be chaos and anarchy in the world if it wasn't for blokes like me and the police and military. And I wish everyone saw it like you just said. Like sometimes you wish people would walk past you and shake your hand and go, "Good on you, mate. Good job," but they don't. It's a very thankless job. And I think that's why a lot of us go downhill and we become hermits. We just lock ourselves in the corner and we stop talking to people. I think it's a lack of appreciation, no one caring about us. So,
well, see, in my opinion, I think police officers and firefighters and soldiers, they're the guys who should be making $1 million a year. You know, not some, rock star talk show host or professional golfer. Those are the people who should be getting the big money,
I do agree,
teachers.
but I'm saying that you could have paid me nothing and I still would have put that uniform on and gone out and locked that bloke up. And every former police officer will tell you that.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
But we'll all say, well, I would have done it for nothing.
Well, I think you're going to be really happy here, Max, because one, there's a lot of Australians here. Two, there's a lot of retired police officers here, a lot of retired military. I think you could relate to them also. And they're all super nice guys, friendly guys. And I can just tell when I meet somebody, I think you're going to be really happy here. And it's an honor to meet you. It really
so do
is.
I. No, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's an honor to meet you, actually.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.